Good afternoon, and welcome to the August 2025 ProcureWare Product Updates webinar. My name is Ryan Posnikoff. I'm Vice President of Product Management at Contruent. I'm going to be joined shortly on this presentation by Joe Kalasa, who's Product Manager with ProcureWare, as well as Sarah Albee, who many of you worked with throughout the years as a Product Manager on ProcureWare. So with that, I'm going to kick off with a little bit of discussion on who Contruent is, and then we'll jump into ProcureWare, the product itself. So in 2024, Contruent acquired ProcureWare. Contruent is an organization that, as a software organization, has supported some of the world's largest capital projects. We've done so in over 30 countries worldwide, with over 1,000 global customers throughout the years. We're headquartered in Naperville, Illinois, and we are built upon 25 plus years of project controls experience. We've done a significant amount of software integrations and work with some of the largest organizations that are delivering today's most complex, capital-intensive projects around the globe. Some of those organizations you may recognize, some of them you may not, but nonetheless, all of them have one big thing in common, and that is procurement is the start of their entire capital project lifecycle. And that's where ProcureWare came into play with Contruent. Procurement is an early pre-construction planning part of the construction process in capital projects, and something that takes place throughout the entire execution cycle as well. Contruent saw ProcureWare as an opportunity to significantly enhance and expand our current procurement capabilities to a broader capability for our users to be able to expand to their overall global supply chain. So with that, I'm going to jump into what we're doing with ProcureWare, initially with security enhancements over the last year and a half, as well as some of the updates to our roadmap right now. So from a roadmap perspective, we break up our roadmap into now, next, and later. Currently, we're working towards, and we're going to dive into this a little bit deeper with Joe shortly, multi-currency support. So working with a lot of our global accounts, they have supply chains that span multiple boundaries, and they're looking for pre-bid exchange rates to be able to be set, auto conversions, and also be able to have consistent rate application. As a broad product offering, Contruent Enterprise, our cost management project control solution, we are working on a data integration with it and ProcureWare right now. Initial data integration is focusing on contract award data, moving into contract execution stage. In the future, not too far from now, we'll also be working towards contract closeout during execution to bring back into ProcureWare from an analysis standpoint. We're also going to be working towards cross-product UX and UI integration, which will show you a little bit of that now. And as always the case, we're always working towards a greater security posture in our product. And some of that is going to be inclusive in the next few months will be multi-factor authentication capabilities, single sign-on ready, as well as federated login when available. So with that, the agenda for the rest of the day is going to be talking about security enhancements, which Joe will take, current roadmap discussions, diving a little bit deeper about what was just discussed. And Sarah Albee is going to talk about some of the user requests that have come through the user request portal over the last 18 months and how we brought many of those into our product. So with that, I'm going to pass over to Joe, and we'll speak with you soon. Bye now.
Thanks, Ryan. First, I'm going to go over some security enhancements we've made to ProcureWare. Then I'll go over some of those roadmap items that Ryan mentioned in a little bit more detail. And then I will hand it over to Sarah to show off some of the user requests that we have already implemented into the platform. First, we'll look at some of the security enhancements we've made to ProcureWare. The documents you may have noticed now are not immediately available when you upload them. They go through a scanning phase. Now, they've always been scanned for malware, but in the past, you were able to download it immediately. We've changed this to now it waits until the file is fully scanned before it is available to you or your vendors. This is to help improve security around the platform. We've also made major strides in increasing our SonarQube grade to an A. For those unfamiliar, SonarQube is an industry standard tool that analyzes code for security vulnerabilities, bugs, and quality issues. An A grade means we're in the top tier for security coding practices. This isn't just about preventing current threats, it's about building security into the foundation of our platform so vulnerabilities don't exist in the first place. Next, I'd like to talk about one of our most important roadmap items. Since we acquired ProcureWare about 2 years ago, we've been working towards this integration to create a seamless project lifecycle experience. When you award a bid through ProcureWare, that project information will automatically flow into Contruent Enterprise for a full project and contract management. Think of it as extending your current platform's capabilities. You'll always have the same functionality you're used to, but now with the option to manage the entire project lifecycle in one connected system. This will virtually eliminate the transcription errors that can happen when moving between disconnected systems. For those interested in exploring broader project management capabilities, this opens up a whole new world of functionality while keeping your familiar bidding process intact. The page you're looking at here is the homepage for Contruent Enterprise. And as you can see in the top right corner, there's a direct link to ProcureWare, and that will be the same back to ProcureWare, back to Contruent from ProcureWare as well. This means that your contracts will automatically be moved over from ProcureWare into Contruent Enterprise. Another major roadmap item that we are working towards is multi-currency functionality. This is designed with a streamlined approach to exchange rate management. Before your bid goes live, you'll set the exchange rates for any international currencies involved. Then, throughout the entire bid cycle, all analysis and comparison numbers use those rates to convert everything to your base currency. This gives you complete control over the rates used and ensures consistent, fair comparisons across all international bids. For many of you looking to expand into international markets or work with global vendors, this removes the complexity of managing multiple currencies while giving you the transparency and control you need for accurate bid evaluation. Two more important security features that are on our roadmap are MFA and federated login. Multi-factor authentication is an important security measure that will give you the option to require MFA for all users or specific roles, choose from SMS, email, or authenticator apps, and we're building it to integrate with single sign-on systems. This addresses one of the biggest security vulnerabilities, compromised passwords. With MFA, even if someone obtains a user's password, they still can't access the sensitive data. For many of our enterprise clients, this also helps meet internal security requirements and compliance standards. Along with MFA, we'll be implementing federated logins. This means your IT team can integrate our platform directly with your existing identity management systems, whether it's Active Directory, Azure AD, or another OAuth compatible system. The business impact here is significant. Your IT team gets centralized control over user access, employees get the convenience of single sign-on, and you get enhanced security through your existing authentication infrastructure. It also means when someone leaves your organization, their access to the bidding platform is automatically revoked when their corporate account is disabled. Before I hand it over to Sarah, I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of their options for getting in contact with support. If you go to the help link located on any page in the portal in the top right corner, you can find all of our documentation. Very often you can find the answers to your questions by going through there. The documentation is very thorough, but there's also a form in there that you can fill out if you are still having issues, and that will send us a case. You can also email us at support@procureware.com. That will also open up a case. Or if it's urgent, you can call us at 925-322-8899. And now I will hand it over to Sarah to go over some of the new updates that you have requested and we have provided within the platform already.
Okay, good morning. For this part of the webinar, I'll be taking you through a few of the new features and enhancements we've added to ProcureWare since Contruent took over the product in April 2024. And one of the very first things we did was put an ideas button on the top right-hand corner of every page, because we wanted to hear from you about what features you thought would help you make the most of the ProcureWare platform. And wow, you guys, you delivered. We had so many great ideas for ways to improve and enhance our user experience and our functionality. So here are a few that we chose to implement right off the bat. And I'm just going to go through them. So first, let's talk about vendor experience changes. You told us that there were a couple of areas of the tool that caused your vendors some confusion or frustration. And one of the main ones was our DBE or diversity module. On the registration page, I guess there was confusion around when DBE is not applicable or applicable. And so what we did was we changed it. So now when your vendors register, they have the option right off the bat, is this applicable to their organization or not? And if it is applicable, then they see the form to fill in. But if it isn't applicable, that form never appears. And just that small change has really improved the quality of DBE data and self-reporting that's coming through the system. Now, the other thing we did was create a new automated email that goes to a supplier if they choose to withdraw or unsubmit their bid. And we'd heard from some that vendors thought it was confusing. They would get an email upon submission with a confirmation number, but no corresponding email as proof that that confirmation number had become invalidated and the bid was actually withdrawn. As with all our messages, you control the message wording and in the template area of your setup. So you can control what it looks like, what words it says around that standard message template on unsubmit. And then we also fixed the bid countdown clock. In the past, if a supplier held open their response page for a long period of time, that on-screen counter, which was being run by a set of code, would just slip ever so slightly. It would start to misalign with the reality of the clock. It was fractional, but if the page was open for long enough, that fractional would add up to seconds. Or even minutes. And we recognize that those minutes and seconds matter for getting your suppliers' bids on time. So we know that this better synchronized timer will help avoid confusion and missed due dates. Okay, next I'd like to talk about our new batch delete option. So we've added a feature that allows you to delete suppliers right from the main supplier grid. You just filter down to the suppliers you want to delete and then click the delete icon in the top right-hand corner. We also added a new configuration option that basically allows you to do a delete even if a supplier is on a bidders list. So by default, this is off because not every organization wants to be able to delete suppliers that have bid in the past. But if you call into support, we can flip this flag for you and you'll be able to delete those suppliers. If you do, any bid that supplier was related to or was on, it will still show that they existed, but it will put in parentheses deleted. Still, though, just to say, you can't delete a supplier who's associated with an active contract, but definitely being able to clean up your vendor database helpful in the long run. Moving forward. Now, one of our clients requested we consider adding more tools for managing their supplier database, especially around suppliers that aren't completing registrations. So there's now a new configurable option that will automatically send a reminder notification to any supplier who started but didn't finish the registration process. Those suppliers, if they haven't completed their registration within 30 days, is sent an email, and then a separate reminder is sent every 30 days after that. So you can see in your configuration settings, there's now a new option, registration reminder days. If that's set to the number turned on to a number 30, then we'll go ahead and send those reminders. And I'll just take this opportunity to say at any time you can go to your setup page and look at these defaults and settings to see what your configuration is currently set to. And if you see anything that you would like explained or changed, go ahead and call support. These changes are all free. They do not take us long to do, and we'd be happy to make any changes to your defaults. All right. And I'll just say, this is just a reminder that you do control your message template for that reminder message that's going out to your suppliers. It's a very simple baseline template, but you can update that, obviously. Now, one of the reasons that these unfinished suppliers will appear in the database is because if you're an organization that uses the option on the bidders page, the bidders list page, invite unregistered companies to bid, that's an option. It brings up this dialog that allows you to enter in some email addresses and send an invitation that specifically used to do two things automatically. It would immediately add the person you invited to your vendor database in an incomplete registered state, and it would immediately add that user to your bidders list. And it was doing that because in a private bid, the only way the bidder could see or the supplier could even see the bid is if their name is already on the bidders list. But what we heard was that that's not always appropriate. And if you were putting 1,000 emails here, that was adding 1,000 vendors to your vendor database, but many of them are not going to respond and follow up. So now we've offered this option. Yes, you can add them immediately to the database in the bidders list, same exact as the past. But now you also have the option not to. And if you say you don't want to add them to the database or the bidders list, they'll still get the invitation. They'll still be able to respond and participate, fill in their registration and bid, but it won't automatically plug your vendor database. Okay. So let's switch gears and talk about multi-language options. All right. So first, I just want to make sure everybody knows ProcureWare can be made available in any language. We have some languages are available out of the box, like Spanish, which we have recently fully updated. But if you want your users to have a choice of UI language, please let us know. We can work with you to upload another UI language or to refresh one of the ones we have. And we can show you how to open up language selection for your users so they can choose by a switch whether they want their user experience in Spanish or English, for instance. And I also want to take this opportunity to remind you that you can change the words that ProcureWare uses in almost every area on screen. Any field, any menu option, any on-screen message. So if you refer to or have a business term you would like reflected in your ProcureWare user experience, but just please make sure you reach out to support and ask them to go ahead and make that language change. We can work with you to make sure your ProcureWare platform reflects the terms of your business, because that'll make it easier for your users and your suppliers to work within the system. All right, now with every release, we try to add at least one or two small usability enhancements for our admin users as well. So the first is pretty straightforward, but we wanted to make sure that every admin user had the opportunity to decide what page they landed on when they logged in. I mean, it's only one or two clicks to get where you need to go, but if you're always needing to be on the main bid grid, for instance, or if you work with the vendor database and you just want to get taken directly to the main company grid, we can now associate your selection with your user login, your user management page. Easy peasy. Next, we've put a new button on the bid setup screen that allows you to immediately open a bid for supplier bidding. And what it does, if you click this button, it will open the bid and change the availability date to reflect the date and time upon which the bid was open to bidding. We have a corresponding button to close the bid, which immediately closes the bid and updates the due date to reflect the date and time your bid was actually closed. Now, we did that because we heard that waiting for the availability date and time to come so the bid would open was not always, it was sometimes a frustrating wait, or you'd have to try and edit to get your date correctly so it would happen quickly. This just is immediate upon click. Now, we recognize not every client has a process that allows for this flexibility. So we've hidden these buttons by default. But if you think your team could benefit from these shortcut options, please let support know, because we can unhide the buttons and assign permissions to the correct ProcureWare roles that make sense for you. All right. And then I should say, finally, we created an option that disables automatic alerts that go out related to bids or contracts. And you can choose to do that on a bid-by-bid basis. So if you've set up a bid reminder alert or bid due date or clarification notice alert, and for whatever reason, it doesn't matter why, you don't want those alerts going out for a particular bid, you can go ahead and disable it. And the same is true for contracts. Okay, it looks like reports are up next. So it's been a while since we'd offered a new report. So our new report is called the Company Activity List, and it's got a sister report, which is the same company activity list, but without some of the additional columns that makes the report large and slow to load. So if you need a fast report, you pick the one with the fewer no user-defined fields or approval status. So what this report does is it gives you a snapshot into the engagement of your suppliers. Who's active? Who's been on bidders lists? Who's submitting? And who's getting awarded? You can also look at registration dates or the last time they updated their profile, the last submit for a bid they've done, and even the last time that one of the supplier contacts logged into your system. This is just another way that ProcureWare is providing tools to help you manage your supplier database in a proactive way. So please let us know how this new report is working for you. Okay, our workflow engine. It is incredibly powerful. And if you aren't taking advantage of it, you may want to reach out to support to schedule a review of our approval workflow capabilities and options. We've added a couple to the options that were already there. We've added an approval workflow that specifically bypasses vendors who are not applicable for DBE. Remember, we talked about that earlier in this webinar. So if you have a diversity approver who goes in and validates the self-selection certification for your DBE on your suppliers, any supplier that has said they're not applicable will be automatically approved, and therefore your approver won't have to go in and validate. They'll just cut down the amount of work they have to do. We also created a new workflow option that allows you to approve suppliers to see certain documents. So if you have a subset of suppliers who need to see certain legal or system documentation, the main document library now has a new folder that's only visible to suppliers with this new approval. I'll just say our support team, approval workflows is a free module for your ProcureWare instance, and our support team would be happy to sit down, walk through its capabilities, and get those set up for you. Okay, well, just keep the ideas coming. Now, I say that, but our ideas management system is being updated right this minute. So that link might actually be temporarily disabled or removed. It doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. We love hearing your enhancement ideas, and we love being able to provide these small improvements that make a big impact over time. So use the support desk, register your requests. And now I'm going to move and talk about some of the new feature enhancements we've added to the system. So the first one was a complete refresh of the Surety 2000 bid bond validation integration. So we recently revamped and improved because we needed to take advantage of some new integration APIs that Surety 2000 offered. This new approach, it streamlines access, no more needing to store usernames and passwords in both systems. As long as your suppliers have a matching federal tax ID to the one on file with Surety 2000, and as long as you've set up your bid number to match with the Surety 2000 contract ID number, we'll be able to automatically supply bid bond validation as part of your supplier's bid submission. Now, contact support if you're curious about setting this up on your platform. We can show you how to set it up and how that setup impacts what your vendors see as part of their bid submission. I'd also like to introduce a whole new module to the ProcureWare system, and it's called the Bid Retention Module. Now, many of you have been ProcureWare users for a long time, and we know that proper data retention rules need to be followed and managed as part of your ongoing process. With our new module, currently available for bids and soon to be available for contracts, you can choose your data retention schedule and then manually destroy, archive, or partially destroy based on your retention guidelines and the bid data in your system. So when what we do is you have a new grid available, and it will apply your retention rules to the bids in your system and show you any that are outside of the retention timeline window. Then you can bid by bid, or collectively, if you know the answer for all of them, you can choose to either destroy a bid, destroy any unsuccessful bid, but leave the one that was awarded, or three that were awarded, or you can choose to archive a bid. Maybe for whatever reason you need to make sure a bid is not destroyed, while still acknowledging it's outside the retention window. I will warn you, destroyed is really destroyed. The records and any associated documents are fully removed from the database and even from the backup system. There will be no way for us to revert a destruction. We will not be able to get the record, the award, or the documents back for you. So please use this with caution, but that's what retention is. These documents are supposed to be destroyed. And obviously, if you don't want them to, while still acknowledging your window, you can always choose the archive option. Okay, if you choose, there were two settings. One is to destroy the bid, but keep the record that the bid existed. And in that case, all we keep is the header information that you see here. It's the number, the title. We keep that, but if you click in, you can't actually get to any detail about the bid. But if you choose to destroy, that is also what happens. If you choose to retain the award or to archive, the data about the bid award submission, and in the case of archive, all data still remains. Any bid that goes through bid retention, the bid retention module is immediately locked and hidden and taken away from the vendor view of the database. So your suppliers will not be able to see an archived bid or an award retained bid through their interface. All right, lots of information there. We'd be happy to walk you through all of these new modules or anything else, any other questions that you might have through support. And again, I should say, as with all new features with ProcureWare, these are free. We just need to know you'd like them turned on. Thank you very much. That's my part of the webinar complete.